Hey guys, tonight we're embarking on a journey back in time to explore what could have happened if ancient Egypt had embraced modern medicine. Picture yourself wandering through the sun-drenched streets of the Ebers, the air filled with the scent of papyrus and the murmurs of merchants peddling their wares. Imagine the grand temples adorned with hieroglyphics where priests invoke the gods for health and healing. But here's a cheeky reality check: you probably won't survive this journey if you were transported back to ancient times, with all its mysteries and perils, especially when a common cold could be a death sentence. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. I'd love to hear where you're tuning in from and what time it is in your corner of the world. Let's connect. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. Our adventure begins by laying out the foundations of ancient Egyptian medicine, which was a fascinating blend of practical treatment and deep spiritual beliefs. The Egyptians were pioneers of their time, utilizing an array of herbs, animal parts, and even minerals to concoct remedies for ailments. They were not just healers, they were also magicians in the eyes of the people, as diseases were often viewed as punishments from the gods or the work of malevolent spirits. This understanding of health was intricately linked with their rich tapestry of mythology and religious practices. The ancient Egyptians wrote extensively about their medical knowledge in texts like the Ebers Papyrus, one of the oldest medical documents known to humanity. It contained over 700 remedies and magical spells for various ailments, ranging from headaches to wounds. They believed that the heart was the seat of intelligence and emotion, and therefore it played a crucial role in their understanding of health. Historians still argue whether this view of the heart influenced their surgical practices, making it all the more intriguing to think about how these beliefs shaped their treatments. Now, imagine if modern medicine, with its scientific rigor and empirical methods, were introduced to this rich landscape of ancient Egyptian healing. Physicians in ancient Egypt might have initially viewed the arrival of modern medicine with skepticism, perhaps even fear. After all, change can be unsettling, especially when it threatens to disrupt the centuries-old practices intertwined with divine beliefs. But what if they embraced this change, merging the wisdom of their ancestors with groundbreaking scientific discoveries? Medical innovations such as antiseptics, anesthesia, and antibiotics would revolutionize healthcare in ancient Egypt. Imagine the first surgery performed under anesthesia, where a patient could lie peacefully as a skilled surgeon operated with precision. Instead of relying solely on spells and incantations, imagine physicians using sterilized tools and understanding the importance of hygiene and no more washing instruments in the Nile. The introduction of modern diagnostic techniques, like X-rays and MRIs, would be nothing short of miraculous. Physicians could peer inside the human body, diagnosing conditions with a clarity previously deemed impossible. This newfound knowledge would not only enhance treatment, but would also spark a transformation in the way Egyptians viewed health and illness. And can you picture the pharaoh, initially resistant, witnessing the miraculous results of modern medicine? Perhaps he'd call upon his council, debating the implications of such advancements. Historians still argue whether the pharaoh's acceptance of modern medicine would have undermined the priesthood, as these healers held significant power over the populace. Access to healthcare would expand dramatically. No longer would the common folk be at the mercy of divine will or the whims of fate. They would gain access to effective treatments. The social hierarchy might begin to dissolve, as even the poorest could seek medical help. Imagine the bustling clinics filled with patients, a cacophony of voices clamoring for care. The vibrant streets of ancient Egypt, previously dominated by the sounds of merchants, would transform into a hub of healing and hope. You could almost feel the collective sigh of relief as the population became healthier, living longer lives, thanks to modern medical practices. In this imagined scenario, ancient Egypt could have led the world in medical advancements, becoming a center of knowledge and learning. Think about how the Great Library of Alexandria, already a beacon of knowledge, might have flourished with newfound medical texts. Scholars from across the globe would flock to Egypt, eager to learn from its revolutionary practices and contribute to this vibrant tapestry of knowledge. As we delve deeper into this enchanting what-if, let's consider the implications that would arise from merging ancient practices with modern medicine. Would there be a cultural clash, or could a harmonious blend be achieved? As we explore these questions, let's keep the wonder of ancient Egypt alive, imagining a world where the past and present coalesce into something extraordinary. As we drift deeper into this alternate reality, let's envision the very moment modern medicine makes its grand entrance into ancient Egypt. It's a sunlit day in the bustling heart of the Ebers, and the air is thick with anticipation. You can almost hear the whispers of the curious crowd gathering outside the temple, where the pharaoh will unveil these revolutionary ideas. Imagine their eyes wide with a mix of skepticism and intrigue, as the high priests stand by, uncertain of how this new wave of healing will affect their ancient practices. What if, instead of outright rejection, the Egyptians embraced modern medicine? In this scenario, we see physicians donning the traditional linen garments of their ancestors, augmented by the introduction of lab coats and surgical scrubs. The blending of cultures could lead to an extraordinary fusion, where the wisdom of the ancients meets the precision of modern science. Picture a scene where a healer, adorned with Ankh symbols for life, prescribes penicillin to treat an infection, marveling at the drastic change in outcomes. With modern medicine's arrival, the role of the pharaoh would naturally come under scrutiny. Historically, pharaohs were seen as divine beings, intermediaries between gods and mortals, often overseeing healthcare through the lens of spirituality. However, will pharaoh equipped with knowledge of germs and vaccinations still continue to carry the divine mantle, or would they transition into a more scientific ruler? Historians still argue whether the shift towards a more scientific governance would dilute the divine authority of the pharaoh, creating a fascinating tension in our story. Imagine the pharaoh convening a grand council, where traditional healers and newly minted doctors debate the merits of their respective practices. The high priest, draped in elaborate robes, argues passionately for the power of prayers and rituals, while a modern physician counters with evidence-based results from the treatment of common ailments. The tension in the room could be palpable, a microcosm of the larger culture clash between ancient beliefs and modern understandings. Yet, this merging of ideas could also lead to innovative solutions to long-standing health issues. With the pharaoh's support, public health campaigns might emerge. Imagine posters depicting the importance of sanitation, much like today's public service announcements. The Nile, a lifeline for the Egyptians, may also become a focal point for health education, teaching the population about the dangers of waterborne diseases and the importance of clean drinking water. As modern medical practices take root, the changes in healthcare access would be profound. No longer limited to the elite, healthcare could become a right for all. Picture bustling clinics where doctors treat a variety of patients from farmers to merchants, each receiving care regardless of their social status. The health of the populace would improve dramatically, leading to a more productive society and, perhaps, a stronger economy. But how would this newfound access to healthcare affect the ancient Egyptian view of destiny and the afterlife? In this world, where disease is no longer a punishment from the gods, the interpretation of life itself could undergo a significant shift. Would the emphasis on health lead to a re-evaluation of the afterlife, perhaps reducing the importance of elaborate burial practices designed to appease the gods? Historians still argue whether this shift would lead to a decrease in monumental tomb building, which adds another layer of complexity to our narrative. In this imagined Egypt, the rise of modern medicine could also bring about remarkable advances in medical education. The ancient medical schools, already revered for their knowledge of herbs and anatomy, would expand their curriculum to include anatomy classes based on human dissection, a practice not commonly accepted in their time. Imagine scholars debating and sharing findings, scribes documenting every new discovery in the annals of history. Medical texts could evolve to include both the spiritual and scientific, serving as a bridge between two worlds. As education flourishes, the role of women in healthcare could also transform. Historically, women served as midwives and local healers, wielding significant influence over reproductive health. In this alternate reality, women might gain access to formal medical training, allowing them to become doctors and surgeons in their own right. Picture a thriving community of female physicians who not only uphold ancient traditions, but also adopt new medical technologies, paving the way for future generations. The social ramifications of this medical evolution would be both exhilarating and complex. With better health, life expectancy would rise, leading to population growth and changes in societal structures. The bustling markets of ancient Egypt would echo with the laughter of children, a sign of hope and a brighter future. As we continue to explore this fascinating scenario, consider the implications of trade and knowledge exchange. Ancient Egypt was a hub of commerce, and with the introduction of modern medical practices, you can imagine caravans laden with not just spices and gold, but also medical texts and supplies traversing the trade routes. The exchange of ideas would not be confined to Egypt alone. Neighboring cultures would be drawn to this flourishing medical knowledge, further cementing Egypt's place as a center of healing in the ancient world. In this captivating tapestry of history and imagination, we find ourselves at the crossroads of the ancient and the modern. As we weave together the threads of tradition and innovation, it opens up a world of possibilities where the ancient Egyptians not only survived but thrived, leading the charge in a revolution that changed medicine forever. As we journey further into this alternate timeline, the question of how the pharaoh would navigate these transformative changes looms large. Imagine always been that of a divine ruler, powerful figure adapt. Picture the grand gather. On one side sits the high priest, a stalwart defender of ancient beliefs, arguing fervently for the sanctity of traditional healing methods. The gods have given us the knowledge to heal, he insists, and to turn our backs on that is to invite their wrath. Meanwhile, modern physicians advocate for evidence-based practices, citing successful treatments and improved health outcomes. The tension in the air is palpable, a clash of worlds that could reshape the very fabric of society. Historians still argue whether the pharaoh's acceptance of modern medicine would lead to a decline in the priesthood's power, as the balance of authority teeters on the edge. Would the pharaoh remain an unassailable deity, or would the practicalities of healthcare redefine divinity? Deciding to blend the two worlds, he might decree that the priests and physicians work together to create a new healing paradigm, one that honors both the spiritual and empirical. This could manifest in the establishment of healing temples dedicated to both traditional practices and modern techniques, a space where rituals take place alongside medical examinations. Imagine a patient, unsure whether to pray or to receive treatment, stepping into a sanctuary where both paths converge harmoniously. As the pharaoh navigates these complexities, the implications for healthcare access become clearer. No longer would health be reserved for the elite. Instead, a network of clinics and healing temples would spring up across the land, ensuring that even the humblest farmer could receive care. Picture bustling marketplaces outside these clinics, where healers dispense advice and remedies, while families gather to discuss their health concerns. The community thrives as health becomes a shared responsibility. With modern medicine taking root, the role of education would undergo a radical transformation. Imagine a new generation of medical students, both men and women, learning anatomy through hands-on experience, exploring the intricacies of the human body while being steeped in ancient wisdom. The ancient medical schools, once solitary institutions, would flourish as collaborative centers of learning, where knowledge flows freely among scholars and practitioners. As education evolves, the ancient texts would be reinterpreted through the lens of modern science. No longer would the Ebers Papyrus be solely a collection of spells and remedies. It could transform into a comprehensive medical textbook that includes explanations of diseases and their treatments based on empirical evidence. Imagine scholars poring over ancient writings, excitedly adding their findings, creating a dynamic dialogue that shapes the future of medicine. In this new reality, the medical landscape could also see the rise of specialized practitioners. Picture a bustling clinic where a variety of specialists, orthopedists, obstetricians, and herbalists collaborate to provide comprehensive care. A woman in labor might be attended by both a midwife, steeped in tradition, and a physician well-versed in modern obstetrics, ensuring the best of both worlds for mother and child. As access to healthcare broadened, we would inevitably witness changes in societal attitudes towards health. In a world where ailments are treated and prevented rather than feared, the stigma surrounding illness would begin to dissipate. Imagine vibrant discussions in the public square, where citizens openly share their health journeys, advocating for preventative measures and promoting wellness. This newfound communal approach could foster a culture of empathy, as people rally together to support one another in their health struggles. The social dynamics of ancient Egyptian society would also shift dramatically. With better health comes increased productivity, and the economy flourishes. Picture the fields of grain stretching as far as the eye can see, tended by healthy workers empowered to contribute to society. The wealth generated from a thriving populace could lead to advancements in arts, architecture, and culture, a renaissance of sorts that echoes through the ages. As we explore the relationship between the pharaoh and modern medicine, it becomes clear that this blend of ancient practices and modern advancements has the power to revolutionize not just healthcare, but society as a whole. The pharaoh, as the embodiment of divine authority, may find himself transformed into a leader of progress, guiding his people toward a healthier and more prosperous future. In this vibrant tapestry of history and imagination, we can envision a world where the merging of traditions and innovations leads not only to better health but also to a renewed sense of community and purpose. As we traverse this dynamic landscape, let's consider what comes next. The people of ancient Egypt, empowered by their pharaoh's vision, would embrace the future of medicine and what that could mean for their legacy. With the pharaoh embracing modern medicine and establishing a framework for healthcare that intertwines ancient practices with contemporary knowledge, we now turn our attention to how this newfound approach would transform healthcare access across ancient Egyptian society. Visualize the vibrant streets of the Bees, where the clamor of merchants is now accompanied by the voices of healers and patients alike. The evolution of healthcare in this alternate reality would be nothing short of revolutionary, and its effects would ripple through every stratum of society. Imagine a bustling marketplace where citizens gather not only to barter goods, but also to discuss health and wellness. Women might form groups to share knowledge about herbal remedies, while men exchange tips on preventing common ailments. Community gatherings could evolve into health fairs, where physicians and healers demonstrate practices, offer screenings and provide vaccinations, all while fostering a spirit of camaraderie and shared responsibility for health. The local baker, instead of merely peddling bread, might also share his knowledge of nutrition and its importance in maintaining good health. As we delve deeper into this imagined society, we can envision the establishment of clinics in every district, each staffed by trained professionals who embody both the wisdom of ancient practices and the advancements of modern medicine. Picture a small clinic where a compassionate physician examines a child suffering from fever, using not only age-old herbal remedies, but also modern diagnostic tools to measure temperature and assess symptoms. The community no longer passively accepts illness, they actively engage in their health, seeking treatment and advice readily available in their neighborhoods. Imagine how this increased access to healthcare would lead to a decline in preventable diseases. Spectre of ailments like cholera or smallpox, which once haunted the population, might be diminished through education and vaccination programs. Historians still argue whether increased health access would also lead to population booms, as healthier families could mean more children growing up to adulthood, significantly altering the demographic landscape of ancient Egypt. As these clinics flourish, we would witness a transformation in medical education as well. New medical schools could arise, dedicated to training the next generation of healers who blend traditional knowledge with modern science. Picture eager students, both men and women, gathered in lecture halls, listening intently as respected physicians teach them the intricate workings of the human body, anatomy, and modern pharmacology. The curriculum could include practical training in clinics, allowing students to learn hands-on alongside experienced healers. With education becoming more inclusive, imagine how the role of women in medicine could expand. Historically, women served as midwives and healers, but now they have the opportunity to become fully accredited physicians. Consider a scenario where a young woman, once destined to remain in traditional roles, now stands proudly as a surgeon, performing complex procedures that save lives. The success could inspire countless other women, changing societal norms about gender roles and expanding opportunities for future generations. In this captivating landscape, a shift in attitudes toward health would emerge. With healthcare woven into the fabric of daily life, illness would no longer evoke fear and stigma. Instead, people would share their experiences openly, fostering a culture of support and understanding. Picture neighbors discussing their health openly, sharing remedies or experiences with doctors, creating a fabric of community that promotes well-being. However, this cultural shift would not come without challenges. The integration of modern medicine could spark debates within the community. There would be those who cling to traditional beliefs, viewing modern practices with suspicion. Imagine heated discussions in the agora, where town elders argue over the merits of the new against the tried and true. Historians still argue whether these debates would lead to a schism or ultimately strengthen community bonds, as they navigate a path toward collective understanding. Yet, amid these challenges, the impact of improved healthcare access would be undeniable. As health metrics improve, labor productivity rises and the economy flourishes. Picture the fields of grain thriving as farmers work with renewed vigor, free from the burden of illness. The quality in ways that echo through the ages. As access to healthcare broadens, combine to create a society that values wellness over mere survival. Picture a community that prioritizes preventative care, encouraging regular checkups and healthy lifestyles. Perhaps you'd see families gathering for communal meals, sharing nutritious foods and engaging in physical activities together, a far cry from the past, where disease often dictated terms of life. In this enchanting scenario, the potential for medical advancements also opens doors to even greater discoveries. Imagine the intellectual flowering that could occur, spurred by the blending of ancient wisdom and modern science. Scholars and physicians might collaborate to study diseases that have plagued humanity for centuries, seeking cures and treatments that were once thought impossible. The ripple effect of knowledge exchange could lead to breakthroughs not just in medicine, but also in other fields, everything from agriculture to engineering. With this newfound emphasis on health, the legacy of ancient Egypt could take on a different hue. No longer would it solely be associated with monumental architecture and divine kings, it would also be remembered as a beacon of medical advancement and public health, influencing civilizations far beyond its borders. Imagine future generations looking back at this period of transformation, where the fusion of tradition and innovation paved the way for a healthier, more connected world. As we continue to explore this captivating what-if, the path before us unfurls with endless possibilities. With each section, we can envision a future where health, community, and knowledge intertwine, creating a legacy that endures through the sands of time. As we delve deeper into this alternate history, where ancient Egypt has embraced modern medicine, it's time to consider the evolution of medical education and how it would shape the future of healthcare. Imagine a grand university in Alexandria, where scholars gather to share knowledge and innovations. This institution, already known for philosophy and mathematics, transforms into a center of medical excellence, merging the ancient wisdom of Egyptian healers with the empirical methods of modern science. Picture the bustling halls lined with students, both men and women, eagerly absorbing the teachings of their mentors. The curriculum would be a fascinating blend of ancient texts and modern discoveries. Students might study the Ebers Papyrus alongside contemporary medical literature, learning about herbal remedies and their chemical properties, anatomy through dissection, and the principles of surgery. Historians still argue whether this blending of knowledge would create a more holistic approach to medicine, as students would carry forward the wisdom of their ancestors, while also innovating for the future. As this new generation of medical practitioners emerges, the emphasis on hands-on experience would take center stage. Imagine students in the university's state-of-the-art clinic, where they practice their skills on lifelike models and under the guidance of seasoned physicians. Picture a scene where they conduct procedures, learning the delicate art of surgery, while hearing echoes of ancient chants that once filled the same halls, honoring the gods of healing. With the institution at its core, medical education would extend beyond the walls of the university. Mobile clinics could travel to remote villages, providing both education and care to those who cannot reach the urban centers. Imagine a caravan of healers and students, equipped with modern medical supplies, winding its way through the desert, stopping in small settlements to offer consultations and treatments. The villagers, once isolated, would now gain access to the latest medical knowledge, transforming their perceptions of health and healing. In this vibrant atmosphere, the role of women in medicine would undergo a profound transformation. No longer relegated to the shadows, women would step into the light as respected practitioners and educators. Think of a young woman from a humble background who, through sheer determination and access to education, rises to become a renowned surgeon, inspiring countless others to follow her path. Her achievements would challenge societal norms and reshape the discourse surrounding gender roles in ancient Egypt, paving the way for future generations. As medical education flourishes, so too would the ethical dimensions of healthcare. Imagine debates within the university's lecture halls, where students and faculty wrestle with the complexities of medical ethics. Topics such as the morality of experimentation, informed consent, and the balance between tradition and innovation would provoke spirited discussions. Historians still argue whether these debates would lead to a more ethical practice of medicine, as practitioners strive to uphold the dignity of their patients while pushing the boundaries of knowledge. In this evolving landscape, the study of diseases would take on a new urgency. Imagine a team of scholars conducting groundbreaking research on the spread of infections, leveraging both ancient observational techniques and modern scientific methods. They might uncover the connections between environmental conditions and health outcomes, leading to preventative measures that protect the population from outbreaks. The implications of their findings could reverberate through society as public health initiatives emerge to combat diseases that once ravaged communities. As we consider the breadth of medical education in this alternate Egypt, the potential for cross-cultural exchange becomes apparent. Imagine scholars from Greece, Persia, and beyond flocking to Alexandria, eager to learn from Egyptian advancements and share their own knowledge. The university could become a melting pot of ideas, where different cultures converge to collaborate on medical research and innovation. Picture vibrant discussions over shared meals, where healers swap remedies and techniques, enriching the tapestry of medical practice. With the establishment of this new educational paradigm, the legacy of ancient Egypt would evolve into one of progress and enlightenment. No longer would it be solely defined by its monumental architecture or the power of its pharaohs. It would be remembered as a beacon of medical innovation and a pioneer in public health. Future generations would look back with admiration, inspired by a civilization that not only revered its past but also boldly stepped into the future with knowledge and compassion. As we move forward in this narrative, the landscape becomes ever more expansive. With the threads of education, ethics, and innovation woven together, we can see how the embrace of modern medicine by ancient Egypt would not only transform healthcare, but also redefine the very essence of community. The spirit of healing would extend beyond the individual, enveloping society in a framework of support and understanding, a legacy that speaks volumes about the power of knowledge when guided by empathy and collaboration. In this enchanting exploration, we find ourselves on the brink of new possibilities. With each step forward, we unravel the complexities of a culture that dares to blend the ancient with the modern, forging a path that resonates through the ages. As we continue to weave the narrative of this alternate ancient Egypt, we now step into the realm of the intersection between science and spirituality. In a culture deeply rooted in tradition and the divine, the introduction of modern medical practices and scientific thought would undoubtedly create a fascinating tension. Picture a world where the ancient gods, revered as protectors of health and well-being, coexist with the principles of anatomy, biology, and empirical evidence. How could this delicate balance be maintained without dismissing the cultural beliefs that have endured for centuries? Imagine priests standing alongside physicians, each representing their respective realms of medicine. The priests, clad in their ceremonial garb, would invoke the blessings of Thoth, the god of wisdom, while physicians utilize stethoscopes and diagnostic tools to assess their patients. This scene could embody the essence of a society striving to harmonize the mystical with the scientific. Historians still argue whether this synthesis would lead to a more holistic approach to healing, as both sides recognize the value in each other's practices. In this landscape, healing temples might evolve into centers where both spiritual and medical healing methods are practiced. Picture a patient entering the sacred space of a healing temple, greeted by both a priest offering prayers and a physician ready to provide treatment. The air is filled with the scent of incense and the sound of chanting, creating an atmosphere of reverence and hope. As the priest reads from ancient texts to guide the healing, the physician administers remedies based on modern understanding, weaving together the spiritual and the empirical. These healing temples would become places of refuge for the community, where people not only seek treatment but also find solace and support. Imagine families gathering in these spaces, sharing stories of hope and healing, while practitioners engage in discussions about the effectiveness of treatments from both perspectives. This collaboration could foster a sense of unity, bridging the gap between those who believe in the power of the divine and those who lean toward scientific explanations. As this interplay unfolds, we begin to see how the understanding of health and illness transforms. Traditional beliefs might shift toward a more integrated view, where diseases are no longer seen solely as divine punishment but as complex interactions between the body, environment, and spirituality. Imagine community discussions, where people explore the idea that maintaining good health requires both physical care and spiritual well-being. They might embrace practices such as meditation and mindfulness, recognizing the importance of mental health alongside physical treatments. However, such a synthesis would not be without challenges. Picture the debates that would arise among traditionalists who fear that embracing modern medicine might undermine the authority of the gods. Historians still argue whether these tensions would lead to divisions within the priesthood, as some clergy might resist change while others embrace the potential benefits of scientific inquiry. This dynamic could add layers of complexity to our narrative, illustrating how cultures adapt to new ideas while grappling with deeply entrenched beliefs. In this alternate reality, the legacy of ancient Egyptian medicine could be one of profound influence. Imagine a world where the teachings of these integrated practices spread beyond Egypt's borders. Scholars and practitioners from neighboring cultures would come to learn from this harmonious model of healing, leading to a broader cultural exchange that elevates medical practices across the region. Picture caravan routes bustling with travelers carrying knowledge, texts, and remedies, transforming Egypt into a center of healing wisdom. As we reflect on this potential synthesis of science and spirituality, we can envision how it might shape the future of healthcare and community well-being. Would the acceptance of modern medicine lead to a rejuvenation of spiritual practices, intertwining them with contemporary understandings? Picture a future where the community thrives on the recognition that health is not merely the absence of disease, but a holistic state of well-being encompassing body, mind, and spirit. In this enlightening scenario, our journey through the ancient world reveals a society not only capable of adapting to change but also thriving in its embrace. The dual nature of healing, where scientific advancements coexist harmoniously with spiritual beliefs, becomes a testament to the resilience of humanity in facing the complexities of existence. As we forge ahead, let's explore further how this blended approach could influence the treatment of diseases and the management of public health, ultimately shaping a legacy that resonates through time. As we journey further into this reimagined ancient Egypt, the focus now shifts to a topic that has historically shaped civilizations: disease and epidemics. In a world where modern medicine intertwines with the rich tapestry of ancient practices, we can begin to visualize a society equipped to confront health crises with unprecedented vigor. Picture a scenario where a strange illness begins to spread through the bustling streets of the Ebers, sending ripples of concern throughout the community. How would this fusion of science and tradition impact the response to such a crisis? Imagine the moment when symptoms of a contagious disease arise: fever, chills, and fatigue. In the past, these signs may have been attributed to the displeasure of the gods or seen as a punishment for some misdeed. Now, however, with a greater understanding of disease transmission, the response would be markedly different. Public health campaigns could spring into action, emphasizing education on hygiene, sanitation, and the importance of seeking medical help early. Picture vibrant banners hung throughout the city, urging citizens to wash their hands and avoid crowded areas to prevent the spread of illness. With physicians trained in modern practices, the response team would swiftly mobilize. Picture a group of doctors and healers, armed with knowledge about the disease's etiology and transmission, gathering to develop a strategy. They could analyze the symptoms, tracing their origins and patterns, while also drawing upon ancient texts that document previous outbreaks. Historians still argue whether the integration of scientific knowledge would lead to more effective containment strategies, opening the door to collaboration that could save countless lives. As the illness spreads, community leaders could band together to organize mass vaccination clinics in the heart of the bees. Imagine long lines of citizens waiting patiently to receive their shots, their fears alleviated by the visible commitment to health from their leaders. The pharaoh himself might address the nation, urging everyone to participate in the vaccination campaign, reassuring them that this is a proactive step toward safeguarding their well-being. In a society where healthcare is accessible and community-focused, you can imagine how the presence of modern medical practices would empower citizens to take ownership of their health. Imagine neighbors checking in on each other, sharing information about symptoms, and ensuring that those who fall ill receive prompt care. The sense of community within the walls of ancient Egypt would strengthen, as people unite to combat a common foe. This response to disease would not only be about immediate containment, but also about considering the long-term implications for public health. Picture the establishment of a public health board comprised of physicians, priests, and community leaders, tasked with monitoring health trends and implementing preventive measures. They could conduct research on the origins of diseases, leading to better understanding and strategies that would prevent future outbreaks. Furthermore, the integration of traditional practices with modern medicine could yield innovative treatment. Imagine a physician collaborating with a local herbalist to create an effective remedy that combines modern pharmacology with ancient herbal knowledge. Picture them working side by side in a lab adorned with pharaoh's inscriptions, mixing tinctures that harness the best of both worlds. This partnership could lead to breakthroughs in treating common ailments, establishing an enduring legacy of collaboration in healing practices. As the epidemic unfolds, the experience would deepen the society's understanding of public health. Educational programs might emerge, teaching citizens about germ theory and the importance of sanitation concepts that would have been groundbreaking in ancient times. Imagine children learning about the invisible pathogens that can cause illness, fostering a new generation that prioritizes health in ways their ancestors could only dream of. Yet, even in this imagined scenario of improved health outcomes, we must consider the challenges that arise. As knowledge expands, so too does the potential for misinformation. Picture community debates sparked by skepticism toward vaccinations. Some may cling to old beliefs while others embrace the new. Historians still argue whether these tensions would prompt enhanced public communication strategies, an essential exploration in navigating the delicate balance between tradition and modernity. As we ponder the impact of disease management in this vibrant society, we begin to see a picture of resilience. The integration of modern medicine, public health initiatives, and community collaboration would transform ancient Egypt into a model of health and well-being. With each challenge faced, the society would grow stronger, learning from its experiences and emerging as a beacon of hope for future generations. In this reimagined world, the legacy of ancient Egypt would not solely rely on its monumental architecture or divine rulers. It would be a testament to its ability to unite in the face of adversity, driven by the shared goal of health and prosperity. As we navigate this intricate landscape of public health, let's continue to explore the profound implications of modern medicine in shaping the everyday lives of the ancient Egyptians. Building upon our exploration of disease management in this reimagined ancient Egypt, let's now dive into the realm of surgical innovations. With the introduction of modern medical practices, the surgical landscape would undergo a dramatic transformation, blending the rich traditions of ancient surgical techniques with contemporary advancements. Picture the operating rooms of ancient Egypt, once filled with the sounds of chants and prayers, now complemented by the precision of modern surgical tools and techniques. Imagine a surgical theatre in the bees, where a diverse team of physicians, equipped with both ancient wisdom and modern knowledge, prepares for a complex procedure. The air is charged with anticipation as the physician, clad in a linen garment modified for modern practice, explains the procedure to a group of students observing closely. They watch as he combines the traditional methods of suturing with contemporary techniques to minimize infection and promote healing. Historians still argue whether this synthesis of practices would lead to a new golden age of surgery, as the melding of techniques enhances the efficacy and safety of operations. In this alternate reality, surgical education would become a crucial component of medical training. Imagine aspiring surgeons learning not only about ancient methods such as trepanation and cauterization, but also modern surgical practices like laparoscopic techniques and minimally invasive procedures. The curriculum would emphasize hands-on training, allowing students to practice on anatomical models and cadavers, honing their skills before entering the operating theatre. With the integration of modern anesthesia, surgical procedures would become far less traumatic for patients. Picture a patient lying on the operating table, peacefully unaware as the surgeon operates under the soothing effects of anesthesia. This advancement would revolutionize the surgical experience, allowing for more complex procedures and reducing the fear associated with operations. Imagine the sighs of relief from families who once had to rely on prayer and rituals, now placing their trust in skilled surgeons who perform with precision and care. As surgical innovations proliferate, so too would the types of operations performed. Imagine a world where complex surgeries, such as repairing fractures or removing tumors, become routine. The surgical team, once limited to minor procedures, would expand their repertoire to include orthopedic surgeries, appendectomies, and even caesarean sections. Each successful operation would inspire confidence in modern medicine, further solidifying its place in the hearts and minds of the populace. In this thriving medical environment, collaboration across disciplines would flourish. Picture surgeons working closely with herbalists to formulate post-operative care regimens, integrating ancient healing practices with modern recovery protocols. The use of herbal remedies to promote healing and reduce inflammation could become common practice, creating a holistic approach that honors historical traditions while embracing scientific advancements. However, as surgical practices evolve, so too would the ethical considerations surrounding them. Imagine lively debates in the academy about the morality of certain procedures and the implications of surgical experimentation. Historians still argue whether this ethical discourse would lead to a more compassionate practice, emphasizing the need for patient consent and the importance of patient autonomy. These conversations would be critical in shaping the future of surgical practices, ensuring that the focus remains on the well-being of the patient. The impact of these surgical innovations would extend beyond individual procedures. As surgical techniques advance, public health could see a ripple effect. Imagine a community where injuries sustained in farming accidents or warfare are treated effectively, reducing mortality rates and allowing citizens to recover fully. The economy benefits as a healthier workforce returns to productivity, and families are no longer burdened by the loss of loved ones due to preventable deaths from injuries. As we envision this world of surgical advancements, we also grapple with the potential for greater societal change. Public perceptions around health and medicine would evolve, as individuals witness firsthand the capabilities of modern surgical techniques. Picture the stories shared around dinner tables, where families recount successful surgeries that saved lives, a far cry from the previously held beliefs that the gods alone controlled health. As we continue to explore the implications of surgical innovations in this alternate ancient Egypt, we can envision a society that not only embraces change but thrives because of it. The journey from traditional practices to a sophisticated medical landscape showcases humanity's resilience and capacity for growth. In this world, the legacy of ancient Egypt would become one of innovation and healing, transforming the very essence of healthcare and the lives of its people. With each step further into this alternate reality, we unearth the potential for a brighter future, where the merging of the ancient and modern paves the way for healing that resonates through generations. As we turn our gaze toward the role of women in medicine within this alternate ancient Egypt, the transformations brought about by the integration of modern practices become especially profound. Historically, women in ancient Egypt held significant positions as midwives and healers, but their influence was often constrained by social norms. However, with the paradigm shift prompted by modern medicine, we can envision an empowering landscape where women step into the spotlight as respected medical professionals, breaking free from the limitations of the past. Imagine a vibrant classroom at the Grand University in Alexandria, filled with eager female students aspiring to become physicians. These young women, once relegated to domestic roles or minor healing tasks, are now pursuing formal medical education, fueled by a desire to make a difference in their communities. Picture their determination and excitement as they study anatomy, pharmacology, and surgical techniques alongside their male counterparts. Historians still argue whether this increased access to education would catalyze a broader societal change in gender roles, but the signs of progress are undeniable. In this reimagined world, the presence of female physicians would challenge traditional gender norms, paving the way for a cultural shift. Imagine a talented young woman named Aset, who, after years of hard work and dedication, becomes one of the first female surgeons in the Ebers. She operates in a clinic that serves both men and women, offering care and treatments that were previously inaccessible to many. As Aset performs surgery, word spreads across the city, inspiring other women to pursue careers in medicine and challenge societal expectations. The impact of women in medicine would extend beyond the clinic. Picture gatherings where female healers come together to share knowledge, combining their ancestral practices with new medical techniques. These gatherings could serve as safe spaces for women, fostering a sense of community and solidarity as they discuss challenges and triumphs in their medical journeys. The bonds formed in these circles could empower women both as practitioners and as advocates for healthcare in their communities. As female physicians gain recognition, we could witness a shift in the perception of women's roles in society at large. Imagine public campaigns celebrating women in medicine, showcasing their contributions to health and well-being. Town criers might announce the achievements of female surgeons and physicians, elevating their status and inspiring young girls to dream of futures in medicine. The narrative would change as society begins to see women not just as healers within the home, but as vital contributors to the health. Set facing opposition from traditionalists who believe that medicine should remain a male-dominated field. Historians still argue whether these tensions would lead to a deeper conversation about gender equality, as advocates for women's rights push back against societal norms. Aset, armed with her knowledge and a determination to succeed, would become a symbol of resilience, challenging the status quo and opening doors for future generations. As we explore the evolving role of women in medicine, we must also recognize how this newfound empowerment could impact healthcare access. Imagine a world where female physicians, once limited to midwifery, expand their practices to include all facets of medicine. Aset might open a clinic that offers comprehensive care to women and children, ensuring that those who were previously underserved now have access to quality healthcare. This shift could revolutionize how women approach their health, as they feel seen, heard, and cared for by those who understand their unique experiences. The societal benefits of this change would be manifold. Health outcomes for women and children could improve dramatically as they receive care tailored to their needs. Picture mothers sharing knowledge about reproductive health, nutrition, and preventative care with one another, fostering a culture of wellness. The community would become stronger as the bonds of trust between patients and practitioners deepen, encouraging individuals to prioritize their health. As the role of women in medicine flourishes, we can envision the wider implications for education and public policy. Imagine educational reforms that promote gender equality in medical schools, encouraging the enrollment and support of female students. Policies might emerge that protect and promote women in the workforce, ensuring that they can pursue careers in medicine without facing discrimination or barriers. This transformation in the medical field could also inspire broader social changes. Picture a society that begins to challenge and dismantle misogynistic beliefs, redefining what it means to be a woman in ancient Egypt. As women gain respect and recognition in medicine, they might also find their voices in other areas, advocating for rights in education, property ownership, and political representation. In this inspiring alternate reality, the legacy of women in medicine would become a cornerstone of the renewed Egyptian identity. With each woman who breaks through barriers and earns her place as a healer, the narrative of ancient Egypt evolves into one of empowerment, resilience, and progress. The stories of these pioneering women would echo through time, reminding future generations of the strength found in unity and the pursuit of knowledge. As we continue to explore this rich tapestry of history, let's reflect on how these changes in the role of women within the medical community would influence the broader landscape of society, ultimately shaping the legacy of ancient Egypt in ways that resonate far beyond its borders. As we continue to unravel the threads of this alternate ancient Egypt, the impact of modern medicine on society as a whole comes into sharper focus. With the integration of contemporary medical practices, significant cultural shifts emerge, leading to a society that not only values health city, where the influence of newfound medical knowledge transforms not only healthcare, but the very essence of daily life, creating a ripple effect that touches every aspect of society. Picture the marketplaces of the Ebers. Once filled solely with vendors, healthcare access has empowered them, giving them the energy and vitality to work harder and support their families. As healthier citizens contribute to the economic stability of their community, the vibrancy and flourish alongside physical well-being. In this reimagined landscape, public health initiatives become public squares, where citizens gather to learn about nutrition, exercise and share the importance. Moreover, the integration of modern medicine would alter the perception of illness. Issues can be addressed by mental health. This proactive approach to health could lead to a dramatic reduction in chronic diseases, fostering a culture that values longevity and quality of life. As healthcare becomes more accessible, the social hierarchies that once divided the population begin to dissolve. Imagine a world where peasants and nobles alike attend the same clinics, receiving care, supporting one another in their health journeys, fostering a spirit of empathy. Ancient Egypt as well. Imagine artists and writers drawing inspiration from the newfound emphasis on health and wellness. The stories of heroic physicians, the triumph of women. In values of a community, historians still argue whether the rapid changes in social dynamics would lead to conflict, where debates erupt between conservative factions and progressive thinkers, each vying for their vision of the future. These tensions could spark meaningful discussions that ultimately strengthen the community's resolve to adapt and grow together. In this championing public health initiatives, the pharaoh could inspire the people to embrace modern medicine while respecting the wisdom of ancient traditions. Imagine public declarations urging citizens to framing wellness as a collective responsibility of integrating the principles of collaboration, empathy and proactive health management could spread, creating a ripple effect that transforms society and would resonate through time, marking a significant turning point. Ancient Egypt could redefine what it means to thrive as a civilization. Future generations would look back at this period with admiration, recognizing and navigated the complexities of progress. As we continue to explore the ramifications of modern medicine on ancient Egyptian society, let's turn our attention to the intricate tapestry of trade and knowledge exchange that emerged of ideas. As we delve into the realm of trade and knowledge exchange, the effects of ancient Egypt's embrace of modern medicine become even more pronounced. Imagine a vibrant marketplace where ideas flow as freely as goods, and where the spirit of innovation permeates every transaction. With Egypt positioned as a center of medical advancement, merchants and scholars from neighboring cultures flock to its bustling cities, eager to learn from the groundbreaking practices that have reshaped society. Picture caravans arriving from distant lands laden not only with spices, textiles and precious metals, but also with actions that foster mutual growth and understanding. Historians still argue whether this exchange of ideas would lead to a more interconnected world, as the exchanges that occur at marketplaces become catalysts for cultural dialogue and collaboration. Among the visitors is a Greek physician who arrives in Alexandria, eager to study the integration of modern practices with ancient wisdom. Imagine him walking through the streets, observing the bustling clinics, where patients receive care from both male and female physicians. He is struck by this community's commitment to health and wellness, noting how the Egyptians have melded spiritual practices with scientific inquiry. In an exchange of ideas, he shares his own knowledge of anatomy and surgery, enriching the conversation and prompting Egyptian scholars to ponder new possibilities. As the dialogue between cultures deepens, the potential for innovative medical practices expands. Picture Egyptian and Greek physicians collaborating to develop new surgical techniques, blending insightful theories with practical applications. This cross-pollination of ideas could lead to significant advancements as both societies learn from one another. Imagine a surgical conference held in the beams, where scholars from various cultures gather to share their discoveries and engage in discussions about the future of medicine. Meanwhile, the influence of Egyptian medicine may reach far beyond the Mediterranean. Imagine traders from the Nubian kingdom traveling to Thebes to learn about modern healthcare practices. They return to their own communities, equipped with knowledge about hygiene, vaccination, and preventive care, sparking a cultural renaissance that prioritizes health. The ripple effects of this exchange would transform the perceptions of health and wellness across regions, creating networks of knowledge that transcend borders. In this bustling atmosphere of exchange, it is not just medical knowledge that spreads. The arts and culture of Egypt also influence neighboring societies. Picture artists and poets from other cultures inspired by the stories of Egyptian physicians and healers, creating works that celebrate the journey toward better health. The tales of Aset, the pioneering female surgeon, and her triumphs in the operating theatre capture the imagination of writers, leading to stories that resonate with themes of empowerment, resilience, and community care. As trade flourishes, so too does the potential for collaboration in public health initiatives. Imagine joint efforts to combat common diseases that affect both Egypt and its neighbors. A coalition of Egyptian and Nubian leaders might come together as a model for future collaborations, emphasizing the importance of collective action in preserving health. However, as the exchange of knowledge amplifies, challenges are inevitable. Picture traditionalists in the various societies expressing concerns about the influence of modern practices on their ancient beliefs. Historians still argue whether these tensions would lead to a protective backlash against foreign ideas, as communities grapple with the balance between preserving cultural identity and embracing new innovations. The lively debates that arise would offer opportunities for reflection, prompting societies to consider how best to integrate advancements while honoring their heritage. In this dynamic landscape, the role of education becomes paramount. Imagine institutions emerging across the region to facilitate the sharing of medical knowledge, where scholars from different cultures collaborate to create curricula that encompass a wide range of healing practices. These academies could become centers of excellence, attracting students from diverse backgrounds eager to learn and share their unique insights. Picture young minds gathered in lecture halls, exploring the interplay between science and spirituality as they prepare to become the next generation of healers. As we consider the implications of trade and knowledge exchange within this reimagined ancient Egypt, it becomes clear that the legacy of this era would extend far beyond medicine. The interconnectedness of cultures, driven by a shared commitment to health and well-being, would foster a spirit of collaboration that transcends borders. This flourishing environment would redefine what it means to be a community, emphasizing the value of unity, empathy, and shared responsibility in the face of challenges. As we continue our exploration of this transformative period, let's turn our attention to the ethical dilemmas and conflicts that may arise from the merging of ancient practices with modern medicine. How would societies navigate the complexities of this integration, and what implications would it have for the future of healing? As we delve into the ethical dilemmas and conflicts arising from the integration of ancient practices with modern medicine in this reimagined ancient Egypt, we begin to see the complexities that come with progress. The merging of traditional beliefs and contemporary medical practices would undoubtedly spark debates about the moral implications of such a profound transformation. Picture scholars and practitioners engaging in spirited discussions as they grapple with the values and ethics surrounding health care. Imagine a gathering of physicians, priests, and community leaders in a grand hall in the Ebers. The air is thick with anticipation as they discuss the implications of using modern surgical techniques alongside ancient healing rituals. Some argue that the introduction of cutting-edge practices undermines the spiritual significance of healing, while others advocate for a more pragmatic approach that prioritizes patient outcomes. Historians still argue whether these discussions would lead to a more cohesive healthcare framework or exacerbate divisions within society, highlighting the tension between tradition and innovation. In this context, consider the role of informed consent. Picture Aset, our pioneering female surgeon, as she prepares to perform a groundbreaking procedure. A patient, initially hesitant, expresses concerns about the unfamiliar techniques being employed. Aset must balance her commitment to advancing medical knowledge with the need to respect the patient's autonomy and beliefs. How can she ensure that her patients feel informed and empowered in their healthcare decisions? The discussions surrounding informed consent would prompt broader conversations about patient rights and the ethical responsibilities of practitioners in this evolving landscape. As the integration of modern medicine progresses, we can also envision instances where ethical conflicts arise due to differing cultural beliefs. Imagine a community that holds deep-seated spiritual beliefs regarding healing, viewing modern interventions as a violation of their traditions. Some individuals might refuse vaccinations or other medical treatments based on these convictions, leading to tensions between public health initiatives and personal beliefs. Picture community leaders working tirelessly to bridge the gap, facilitating dialogues that honor both traditional practices and the benefits of modern healthcare. In this intricate tapestry of healthcare ethics, the role of education becomes paramount. Imagine medical schools emphasizing not only technical skills, but also the importance of cultural competency and ethical practice. Students would be encouraged to engage with communities, learning to navigate the complexities of various belief systems as they prepare to serve diverse populations. Imagine aspiring physicians participating in workshops that explore the historical significance of traditional practices and how they can complement modern approaches, fostering a sense of respect and understanding. The ethical landscape would also evolve as new medical technologies are introduced. Picture a scenario in which surgical interventions become more advanced, raising questions about the boundaries of practice. Would there be ethical limits on experimental procedures, and how would society ensure that these innovations are used responsibly? The potential for surgical breakthroughs could invite scrutiny, prompting discussions about the morality of experimentation, especially when it comes to vulnerable populations. Imagine the debates that arise as practitioners and scholars grapple with the implications of do no harm in a rapidly changing medical environment. In navigating these ethical dilemmas, the importance of collaborative dialogue becomes evident. Picture community forums where citizens, practitioners, and leaders come together to discuss pressing health issues and the moral implications of emerging practices. These forums could serve as vital spaces for education, allowing individuals to voice their concerns and share their experiences, fostering a sense of trust and transparency within the community. As we consider the ethical challenges inherent in integrating ancient practices with modern medicine, we begin to see the potential for growth and understanding. Through respectful dialogue, education, and collaboration, societies can navigate the complexities of these changes while honoring their rich traditions. The legacy of this period could emphasize the importance of empathy, respect, and shared responsibility in the pursuit of health and healing. In this evolving landscape, the lessons learned from ethical dilemmas would shape the future of healthcare in ancient Egypt and beyond, fostering a culture of integrity and compassion. As we continue our exploration, let's reflect on how these ethical considerations could influence the long-term legacy of medical advancements and the way societies approach health and healing in the years to come. As we move forward in our exploration of this transformed ancient Egypt, it's essential to reflect on the long-term legacy of medical advancements made possible by the integration of modern practices with traditional healing methods. The impact of these changes would reverberate through history, shaping not only the health of the population but also the cultural and societal frameworks that define this remarkable civilization. Imagine a future where the advancements in medicine lead to a notable increase in life expectancy and overall quality of life. The populace of ancient Egypt, once plagued by diseases that cut lives short, now thrives in ways previously unimaginable. Picture older generations sharing their wisdom with younger ones, passing down not only tales of their experiences, but also the lessons learned from collaborative healing practices. This intergenerational exchange fosters a culture that deeply values health and wellness, allowing the community to collectively celebrate life. In this envisioned future, the Egyptian approach to healthcare becomes a model for neighboring civilizations, inspiring them to rethink their own health practices. Imagine emissaries traveling to distant lands, sharing knowledge about public health initiatives, the importance of sanitation, and the collaborative spirit that defines the Egyptian medical community. The principles of empathy, cooperation, and respect for both science and tradition would influence other cultures, setting a standard for healthcare that prioritizes holistic well-being. As the legacy of Egypt's medical advancements solidifies, consider how these innovations would find their way into the annals of history. Scholars and historians of future generations might document the transformative era, analyzing the impact of modern medicine on society. Imagine textbooks filled with accounts of pioneering physicians like Aset, whose contributions to surgery and patient care become celebrated stories of heroism and resilience. The narrative surrounding their legacies would inspire countless individuals to pursue careers in healthcare, igniting a passion for healing across generations. Moreover, the integration of medicine into the fabric of society would spark a renaissance of knowledge and learning. Picture vibrant universities and centers of excellence established across Egypt and beyond, where scholars from all walks of life gather to study the interplay of health and culture. Interdisciplinary programs would emerge, bridging medicine, philosophy, and the arts, allowing students to explore the holistic nature of health and well-being. This intellectual flourishing would contribute to advancements in various fields, including agriculture, engineering, and environmental science, all rooted in the understanding that human health is interconnected with the health of the environment. As we reflect on the broader implications of these advancements, it's vital to consider the impact on social structures. The emphasis on community-based healthcare would lead to a more egalitarian society, where access to medical care is seen as a fundamental right rather than a privilege. Imagine a world where citizens advocate for health equity and justice, working collectively to ensure that everyone, regardless of socioeconomic status, has access to quality healthcare. This commitment to health as a shared responsibility would foster a sense of belonging and unity, creating a society that thrives on compassion and mutual support. Yet, even as we celebrate these advancements, we must also acknowledge the challenges that come with progress. Historians still argue whether the rapid changes in healthcare would lead to complacency or ongoing innovation, as societies grapple with the need to adapt to new medical discoveries. The ever-evolving landscape of medicine would require continuous dialogue and collaboration, ensuring that the lessons learned from the past inform future practices. Furthermore, the legacy of this era could inspire ongoing ethical considerations in medical practice. Picture medical professionals engaging in reflective practices, consistently evaluating the implications of their work within the broader context of society. The emphasis on integrity and ethical responsibility would become a hallmark of Egyptian medicine, influencing how practitioners navigate the complexities of healthcare in a rapidly changing world. As we draw nearer to the conclusion of this exploration, we find ourselves immersed in a vision of a society that recognizes the profound impact of health on every aspect of life. The legacy of ancient Egypt, shaped by the integration of modern medicine with rich traditions, becomes a testament to humanity's ability to adapt, innovate, and thrive in the face of challenges. In this collective journey toward health and wellness, we see a future rooted in empathy, collaboration, and shared responsibility, guiding the way for generations to come. As we prepare to reflect on the potential trajectory of medicine and society had Egypt embraced modern medical practices, let's take a moment to savor the richness of this narrative and the profound lessons it offers. As we approach the final leg of our journey through this reimagined ancient Egypt, it's time to reflect on how the integration of modern medicine could have influenced global practices and philosophies in healing and healthcare. Imagine a world where the advancements made in Egypt resonate far beyond its borders, shaping the course of medical history and inspiring cultures across the globe. Picture the ripple effects of Egypt's commitment to public health and integrated healing practices. Emissaries from neighboring kingdoms, intrigued by the successes of Egyptian medicine, travel to the Ebers to witness firsthand the innovations in healthcare. These diplomats observe the bustling clinics, the collaborative spirit between healers and physicians, and the commitment to community wellness. Historians still argue whether this cultural exchange would spark a global movement toward more holistic healthcare practices, as the principles of combining tradition with modernity find their way into the hearts and minds of people everywhere. As these ideas spread, imagine how different cultures begin to adapt and adopt elements of Egyptian medicine. In Greece, philosophers might integrate Egyptian medical principles into their discussions on ethics and the nature of health. Picture schools of thought emerging that emphasize the importance of balance, not only between body and spirit, but also between scientific inquiry and traditional wisdom. This synthesis could foster a renaissance in medical practices, encouraging practitioners to draw from a wealth of knowledge that transcends cultural boundaries. In Asia, the influence of Egyptian medicine could be equally profound. Imagine scholars in India studying the texts brought back by traders, marveling at the integration of surgery and herbal medicine. The principles of sanitation and public health that flourished in Egypt might inspire similar reforms in local healthcare systems, leading to a greater emphasis on hygiene and preventive care. Picture bustling marketplaces filled with herbalists and physicians exchanging knowledge, fostering a dialogue that enriches both cultures. As different civilizations adapt these ideas, we can envision the emergence of a global network of medical knowledge. Picture an annual gathering where physicians and healers from various cultures converge to share their findings, experiences, and innovations. This collaborative spirit in the pursuit of health would lead to breakthroughs that reshape the understanding of medicine, incorporating various healing traditions from around the world. Moreover, as the legacy of Egyptian medicine takes root globally, we must consider the potential for ethical frameworks to evolve. Imagine a world where the principles of respect, consent, and dignity in healthcare become standardized across cultures. The Egyptian emphasis on patient empowerment and informed consent could influence how practitioners approach treatment, fostering a more compassionate and ethical approach to medicine. However, this interconnectedness would not be without its challenges. Historians still argue whether the globalization of medical knowledge could lead to the commodification of healing practices, as the commercialization of healthcare might risk overshadowing the core values of empathy and community care. As societies grapple with the balance between innovation and tradition, the importance of preserving cultural identities while embracing change will become increasingly crucial. In this envisioned future, the legacy of ancient Egypt as a pioneer in integrated healthcare would serve as a beacon of inspiration. Picture future generations looking back at this transformative period, recognizing the courage it took to blend ancient wisdom with modern practices. The stories of healers, physicians, and communities dedicated to health and well-being would become foundational narratives, reminding us that healing is a shared journey that transcends cultures. As we reflect on this expansive vision, consider how the values of compassion, collaboration, and holistic healing fostered in ancient Egypt could lay the groundwork for a healthier, more interconnected world. Principles that emerged from this era have the potential to resonate across time and space, shaping the future of medicine for generations to come. Now, as we draw our journey to a close, let's take a moment to consider how these ideas and reflections resonate with our current understanding of health and wellness. What lessons can we take from this reimagined history of ancient Egypt, and how might they influence our approach to healing in the modern world? As we conclude our journey through this alternate history of ancient Egypt, it's essential to reflect on the profound implications of embracing modern medicine and how such changes could have transformed the very fabric of society. Throughout our exploration, we've envisioned a world where healing integrates the wisdom of tradition with the advancements of modern science, creating a legacy that extends far beyond the borders of Egypt. Imagine a future shaped by the values of empathy, collaboration, and holistic health. In this world, the lessons learned from integrating modern medical practices into ancient traditions resonate through time, serving as guiding principles for future generations. The emphasis on community health would cultivate a culture that prioritizes not only individual well-being but also collective responsibility. Picture children growing up in this environment, imbued with the understanding that health is a shared journey, one that requires active participation from every member of society. The ripple effects of this cultural shift would transform how healthcare systems operate. Picture health being viewed not just as the absence of disease, but as a holistic state of being, a balance of physical, mental, and spiritual well-being. Institutions would prioritize preventative care, integrating practices that promote healthy living. Public spaces could be designed to encourage active lifestyles, with parks and community centers fostering engagement and well-being. The community would thrive on the belief that well-being is not merely a personal journey, but a collective endeavor. As we consider the broader implications, we can envision a world where the integration of modern medicine into ancient practices encourages global dialogues about health. Picture conferences where medical professionals from diverse backgrounds share insights, each contributing their unique perspectives to a collective understanding of healing. The exchange of knowledge would foster innovation and creativity, leading to breakthroughs that address both local and global health challenges. Furthermore, imagine the continued emphasis on ethical considerations in healthcare. The legacy of integrating modern practices with ancient wisdom would inspire future generations to navigate the complexities of medicine with integrity and compassion. Picture medical professionals advocating for patients' rights and championing equitable access to healthcare, ensuring that everyone, regardless of their background, receives the care they need. In this reimagined landscape, the legacy of ancient Egypt would not merely be a series of remarkable medical advancements, it would be a testament to the resilience of humanity and the capacity for growth and transformation. The stories of healers and physicians would echo through the ages, reminding us that the journey of healing is as much about the heart and spirit as it is about the body. As we conclude our exploration, let's take a moment to reflect on the lessons embedded within this narrative. The integration of modern medicine into ancient practices teaches us that healing is not confined to a single approach or ideology. It flourishes when we honor the richness of our traditions while embracing innovation and change. The potential for growth lies in our ability to collaborate, to listen, and to learn from one another, principles that transcend cultures and time. Ultimately, the vision of ancient Egypt embracing modern medicine invites us to contemplate our own relationship with health and healing. How can we, in our modern world, foster communities that prioritize well-being, empathy, and collective responsibility? What steps can we take to ensure that healing practices are inclusive and respectful of diverse traditions? As we ponder these questions, we realize that the legacy of this alternate history of ancient Egypt is not merely a tale of what could have been, it is an invitation to engage with our present and shape a future that honors the interconnectedness of humanity. Now, as we gently wind down our journey, take a deep breath and reflect on the rich tapestry of healing we have explored together. May the lessons learned from this narrative inspire you to approach health and well-being with a sense of curiosity, compassion, and an open heart.